This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation. My name is Gavin. Thank you very much for being here. On this channel, we like to cut through the fluff and the sensationalism of true crime and get right into the nitty-gritty of things. And today is a bonus. This is a bonus episode. There will be more episodes today, but this is a bonus episode about a hearing that took place this very day in the case of Ellen Ray Greenberg. Now, just as a recap, Ellen Greenberg was a 27-year-old Philadelphia, Pennsylvania school teacher. On January 26th of 2011, she was stabbed to death, not 20 times like the medical examiner, Dr. Osborne, said, but it has been clarified that she was stabbed 23 times, including to the front of her chest and torso, the back of her head and neck, a big slicing wound on the top of her head. Her death was ruled a homicide by Dr. Osborne, and then after what her family call a clandestine meeting and what I would characterize as a very public pressure campaign by the Philly PD and the district attorney's office, the medical examiner changed his mind. He changed his mind, said, no, she did this to herself. What were the reasons that he did that? Well, one of the main ones was that, according to the report, the MEO investigator, Mr. Olszewski, said that she was locked in her apartment by herself from the inside and that somebody saw her fiance outside break down the door. Now, that never happened. And just this past February, after years and years of fighting, Dr. Osborne finally said, you know what? She did not do it to herself. It needs to be classified as something other than that. And that led to a settlement by the Greenbergs, Josh and Sandy, they settled with the city for an undisclosed monetary sum and the promise by the city of Philadelphia that they would conduct an expeditious and complete review of Ellen Greenberg's case and independently and unbiasedly, I don't think that is a word, would come to that they would just in an unbiased manner and independently they would take a look at the case. Now, they didn't do it expeditiously, and Mr. Pedraza, one of the two attorneys, where are Joe and Will? There's Joe Pedraza on the left, Will Trask on the right. They filed a petition or a motion to have the court force the settlement agreement, which they did. And yesterday, you and I went through the medical examiner's opinion, and her opinion was, yeah, Ellen did it to herself. I don't know how she came to that opinion, but she did. In my opinion, Ellen was murdered. And my number one suspect is her fiance. But I'm not saying he did it. There are other possibilities as well. Just he would be my number one suspect. Okay, today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, just 2.5 hours ago, there was a follow-up hearing on the motion. I told you guys that I would report back on the follow-up. Now, what I did, because you're not allowed to record anything in Philadelphia courts, even if it's a remote hearing by Zoom, what I did is I just did a live, let me see if I can find it, just a quick little live update on X. I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. My buttons are getting funny. There we go. My buttons are It's because I didn't open the right window. So the actual hearing took place over the course of about 5 or 6 minutes, I'd say. It started with all of us gathering in a Zoom breakout room and then being moved into the main channel for Judge Carpenter's court. And then before we moved to the main channel, her staff came in and said, Judge Carpenter would like to see counsel for both sides in an in-camera meeting. That means off the record. It is confidential. It is not part of the court proceeding. They did that for 8 or 9 minutes, and then we were moved over into the main area where Judge Carpenter came on, said, okay, we're on the record. And let's see. She reminded attendees that there's no recording of court proceedings in the Commonwealth. And then she asks Mr. Pedraza where we stand. Joe says he told the court that they're in the possession of the report by the medical examiner's office, and while they disagree with the findings of the medical examiner's office, the city of Philadelphia did indeed, fulfill the terms of the settlement that they made. And by the way, in the spirit of correction, but also love, there was a comment on the in the fish tank. Let me bring this up real quick. This is from Pat. We love Pat. She's awesome. Pat says, this is what I don't understand. The agreement the Greenbergs had with the city was to change the manner of death from suicide to homicide or undetermined. This is what the city agreed to. Why then would it matter what this Emmy says now? That was not part of the agreement. And I just want to point out that Pat is wrong. That is not the agreement that they made with the city. The agreement with the city was not to change the manner of death to homicide or undetermined. The agreement was that the city would conduct a independent, unbiased review with the current medical examiner staff and come up with their own conclusion. And if that conclusion were to fall into homicide or undetermined, they would update the record. So the city did not agree to change the record. I was not surprised that the city did not change the record. But anyway, I just want to make that clarification because that's very important. And when Joe Pedraza said, yes, the city has fulfilled its obligation under the settlement, they have. It is not what we want. And he said that what I wrote was, Pedraza tells the court they're in possession of the report from the medical examiner's office. He thanks Judge Carpenter for her assistance in getting the report. They withdraw the motion for sanctions. Quote, Joe Pedraza says, let me bring up Joe's picture here. What the future holds, we will see. Then Judge Carpenter asks if the matter is closed, quote, at least in terms of the petition before the court. Now, we don't have to be literature majors. In fact, we can just go back to the 6th or 7th grade English classes to understand what foreshadowing is. But after Carpenter asked that, at least in terms of the petition before the court, Pedraza answered in the affirmative. So did counsel for the city. And then Carpenter closed the record. Joe thanked Judge Carpenter. Judge Carpenter left. And as I wrote, it's the shortest hearing I've ever attended. So this lawsuit, everybody, the lawsuit that Josh and Sandy Greenberg brought against a member of the district attorney's office, members of the Philly PD's office, and members of the medical examiner's office, many of which, by the way, are former members now. They don't work there anymore. Some of the police officers have retired. Of course, the case was dismissed in its entirety against Ann Ponterio from the district attorney's office, citing high high, what is that? High position immunity. I can't remember what it's called. High official immunity. Anyway, this lawsuit is now done. It's over. It is done. And there's nothing left to do. We had lots of questions about that yesterday. And of course, I would like to hear your comments on it. So let's go to the old commentary, shall we? And see what you guys want to know. Oh, by the way, tonight at 7 p.m., I am going to be joining Joel Waldman over at Surviving the Survivor. I know that I'm going to be joined with Tom Brennan. My imagination tells me that Tom's displeased. I'm pretty displeased myself. However, I think that Josh and Sandy have good lawyers. I think they have very good lawyers, and I think during the process of this lawsuit, they have learned new things, and I think that that will lead to more action coming down the road. Couple things. Jen, one of our intrepid moderators. Is that right? Jen, how come? Yeah, it's showing the wrench. I'm like, how come it's not showing the wrench on the screen? But it only shows the wrench on the thing. Okay. Gavin, my heart hurt for you watching yesterday. You could see the hurt and disappointment. Don't give up the good fight. We're all in this together. Give her parents our love. Yeah. Jen, I had been ruminating on this since Friday. No, early Saturday. No. I think I got that at about 11:30 p.m. Friday night. So I'd been ruminating on it. I had talked with Sandy about it. I had talked with other members of the family, other members of the media. We had talked about it. I am disappointed, but I'm also, what you might be detecting is that I'm just generally a little down right now. Getting better though, getting better. Yeah, this is exactly what I expected. I did not expect the city of Philadelphia to go, oh my goodness, we have made a terrible error here. Terrible error. I cannot believe this error that we have made, the injustice that has been doled out upon the Greenbergs because of our error. No, I did not see that coming at all. I was understanding of Josh and Sandy that day, February 4th of earlier this year, when they decided to settle with the city, because trials are scary and you never know what juries are going to do. You just never know. So I get it that they settled, but my disappointment happened back in February because I knew what was coming. G-Girl, Gavin, are we living in a bizarro world? It does feel that way sometimes, does it not? It feels that way. But yeah, I wish Philadelphia would take their head out for sure. Jen, can a judge order a WTF motion and demand it be corrected? Your Honor, I would like to file a WTF motion. Stat. Oh, wait a minute. I'm crossing careers. No, the judge has no power there. If the settlement has been, if both sides agree that the settlement has been fulfilled, then the settlement's been fulfilled. And her incentive is to finish this thing up, get this case off of her docket and move along. So she was pretty happy that it was done. I think that, again, the foreshadowing when she said, is this matter closed, at least in terms of the petition before this court? I think that she knows something's coming down the pike. I think maybe in that in-camera little hearing that the conversation that Sandy and Josh's attorneys and the city of Philadelphia's attorneys. While though the city of Philadelphia says the city of Philadelphia is not being sued, we just are lawyers employed by the city of Philadelphia defending employees and former employees of the city of Philadelphia. But anyway, I think in that conversation, it probably became clear what the next step was going to be. Now, if you ask me, what is the next step going to be? I do not know. I am not privy to it. I don't think I should be privy to it. I think Josh and Sandy have a lot of thinking, pondering to do about it, and I have faith in them because if I can I'm going to bring them up again, okay? And let me just pause it right on this picture. Just want to pause this right here. Pause. So it doesn't go to another one, okay? These two people are the hardiest, grittiest, most amazing people who have been able to find happiness and fulfillment all while they have been fighting the fight for their daughter, Ellen. I have complete faith in them that they will do the thing that is right for them. And I am not going to question either way. Whatever they decide to do, I'm not going to question it because it is completely up to them. I feel, because I've known them now for 4 or 5 years, I feel like they're going to keep going. And I feel like they've got a strategy to keep going. I just don't think that I need to be privy to it, so I'm not going to ask. And I'm going to just keep this pause. Well, I don't know what will happen when I change it, but anyway, thank you for that comment, Jen. Let's go to the next one. What else do we have? Hello, Cat Ride. Oops. Just refreshified. There we go. Let's see. Trains, boats, and planes. I'm so sorry for the misunderstanding in the fish tank. I do apologize for that. Don't like posting things that are not true, so thank you. Oh, this is Pat. Pat, we love you. We love you. And you know what? There's so much information out about this case. And in the previous case, that's what they were asking for. In the Greenberg v. Osborne et al., that's what they were asking for. In the Greenberg v. Gulino et al., which is the case that settled, they were not. In that one, what they were doing is they were alleging that there was a conspiracy to cover up the murder of their daughter. So, yeah, totally understandable. Totally, completely understandable. And we love you. Thank you. Jen, the Greenbergs hired an independent doctor to do their own autopsy, right? No, that is not right. They hired Dr. Cyril Wecht to do a review of the documents and the photographs. They hired Dr. Wayne Ross. They hired Dr. Henry Lee. And I'm missing a couple. So all of these specialists, they did not do another autopsy of Ellen. Remember that in the Jewish tradition, Ellen needed to be prepared and buried quickly, which she was. As soon as her body was turned over to the funeral home, she was interred respectfully and lovingly very quickly. So no, she has never been exhumed. Another autopsy has not been performed. There have just been many reviews of it. And if you go to my website, if you're a patron, you can go back to the video yesterday if you're not. But if you're a patron, you can go to my website. You can look at the 32-page report from the ME's office, and it talks about the different reports from Dr. Ross, Dr. Wecht, Dr. Lee, and so forth. So that's what happened. It wasn't their own autopsy. Kind of like the Amanda Winkowski case, they did exhume her and do a second autopsy. It was amazing. G Girl says, Gavin, this is so not over. I think you're right. I think that the foreshadowing that Joe gave us today is a good indication on what they are planning to do. Oliver's mommy says, thank you so much for sending the link. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Last night, I told people that if they wanted the link to the hearing, that I would send it to them. We had 55, 56, something like that people in the hearing, including TMZ, Hulu, Lionsgate, ABC 2020. We had 3 local. These are just people that I recognize by name. 3 local reporters. Stephanie Farr was there. A couple of other local reporters. There may have been more. Stephanie Farr, by the way, is the OG when it comes to reporting on this case. She is amazing. I'm sure that she'll have a piece in the Inquirer, maybe already. And then many of you. So, yeah, it was a short hearing. Not nearly as satisfying as the last hearing with Judge Carpenter, where I was like giddy as a little schoolboy, man. But it was a good hearing. I think Joel was in there too. Speaking of Joel, thank you so much for gifting those memberships. Surviving the Survivor tonight, 7:00. I will be on with Joel, and at least Tom Brennan. Should be a good episode. Jen says Philly subscribes to the Canton Mass way of living. Yeah. Let's see. A couple more. Brendan Kenny says, any chance the attorneys knew this would occur and planned accordingly? I think there is a high likelihood of that. Honestly, I think Josh and Sandy's legal team is top notch. I think they are among the best at what they do. And practicing in Philly, they understand Philly. So I think there's a high chance that they knew that this would occur because I saw it, right? The thing that was most important to Josh and Sandy that day back in February of this year, February 4th, the thing that was most important to them was the declaration by Dr. Marlon Osborne that's saying it should not be categorized that she did this to herself. It should be something else. So they won. They got that. And then they got the bonus of getting some money to reimburse them for the fight. I mean, they weren't after money, but they got some amount. And with just a little sliver of hope that the city would do the right thing, but with the reality knowing that they probably wouldn't. Yes. Autumn says, the big thing we all learned is Philly is whack and I'll never go there. That's funny. That's funny. I love how we all use different parts of the English language. You guys know that one of my favorite books is The Mother Tongue by Bill Bryson. I love that. Autumn, I would never say Philly is whack. However, when we were considering moving to Pennsylvania, I talked with my aunt who lived both in Western Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia at different points of their career. And she said, you should move to Western Pennsylvania. Well, what she said was, out of all the places I've lived, Western Pennsylvania was my favorite. And I said, Pennsylvania, get out. She said, no, Western Pennsylvania. Do not move to Philadelphia. So I share, she is wise, this aunt of mine. She is wise beyond her years. And her years are not far beyond mine because she was born 14 years after my dad was born. So anyway, yeah, I found the wisdom in this. Ariel saying, asking, Gavin, have you discussed with anyone on Josh and Sandy's team what other legal actions are available to them? Yeah, but probably over a year ago. There are plenty of legal actions available to them that are not time barred. And I mean, I think if I were Josh and Sandy, so I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm not saying that they're thinking this, but if I were Josh and Sandy, what I would be working towards is unlocking the statute of limitations on a wrongful death lawsuit. That's what I would be doing. Now, had they prevailed, had this case gone to trial and they had prevailed and a jury said, "Yep, we believe that there was a conspiracy to cover up the murder of your daughter," that would have, it is my understanding, at least I've been told by legal experts, that would have likely unlocked that statute of limitations. So were I in Josh and Sandy's position right now, I would be working toward that same goal. And maybe just back on that day on February 4th, they felt like they didn't have it. They didn't have it well enough to convince a civil jury. Now, I have very little skin in the game. In fact, I have no skin in the game. I only have emotional skin in this game. I think they had it. I think that they could have convinced a jury. Remember, it's a civil case. They didn't have to get a unanimous verdict. So I think they had it. And I think they had it in the bag. And I think the city would have lost colossally and in embarrassing public fashion. But again, no skin, right? No risk for me to say that. So it's very easy for me to say. Let's see, Nicole. Thank you to Gavin, Joel, Surviving the Survivor, and the myriad podcasters who keep this case alive. Justice for Ellen. Thank you very much. I think at the top of that list is Stephanie Farr at the Philadelphia Inquirer. She has done the best. So thank you to Stephanie for stepping up. All right. Well, we knew this would be a short one. I think that is it. Until 7 o'clock tonight on Surviving the Survivor. I don't think that I've shared it on social yet, so I will share that on social real quick before I move off to my next thing. Man, it's a busy day. I was invited on a couple of news programs, but just couldn't make it just because of the day. It might happen tomorrow on one of them. Maybe. Who knows? But busy day today. So tonight at 7 o'clock, Surviving the Survivor with Joel and Tom. Maybe somebody else, I don't know. But at least Joel and Tom will be talking about the case. Tom, guys, listen. Tom is the fount of information on this case. Nobody knows this case like Tom. I would say not even Joe and Will know this case like Tom. Not even Josh and Sandy know this case like Tom. Tom knows this case. So I'm really thankful that I get to be sitting next to him on Surviving the Survivor tonight with Joel. So please tune in. I will share it on my socials so that everybody knows. I've already sent out 3 newsletters in the last couple of days, so I probably won't send out another newsletter. I don't want to inundate everybody. But before we go, just a real quick reminder. Man, I've got to sneeze. That's not the reminder. Please hold. Oh, doesn't a sneeze just feel so good? Just a reminder, head on over to my website for case docs, for Crime Cod articles. Crime Cod is our full-on news, true crime news website. You can also subscribe to the newsletter there at the bottom of Crime Cod, or at the bottom of every page on gavinfish.com. You can subscribe to the Crime Cod newsletter. I would love it if you would. We've got like 2,700 people that are subscribed now, which is pretty awesome. And I call it a de vez en cuando newsletter. I don't always send stuff out. Sometimes it is a couple weeks between times that I send things out, but a menudo, very occasionally, I will send stuff out. It's easy to unsubscribe, and I would love it if you would join me there. Also, at the top of every page, there's this little button that takes you over to the fish tank. It looks like this, little fishies. I might need to change that to... I need to do some redevelopment of my brand. I like the fish. I like the little fancy fish. Don't they look like... What was that children's book where the... What is it? The stingy goldfish or something? I can't remember. Anyway, that's what it looks like. So check us out there. There are 5,500 of us there. We talk about all things true crime. You're always invited to join us there. Of course, if you go into the case page, I've got a very good case page file. There are a couple of cases that I need to add here, man. But Ellen Greenberg is included in, it's all in chronological order, and this case file is full. Every video, including today's video, is already on there. Photos of Ellen, childhood photos of Ellen, crime scene photos, the autopsy model photos, case documents, court documents. It's all here, and a good timeline. And of course, the document that we talked about yesterday is right here. So just look for that independent review. Thank you very much to my patrons who make it possible for me to afford to pay for a server and have people put stuff up here. I work on it a lot. I have other people that work on it a lot too. So thank you for supporting me. If you would like to support me on Patreon, that goes directly to helping the development and the maintenance of my website and CrimeCod. So thank you. Thank you. I deeply appreciate it. See if there are a couple more before we go. Yeah, looks like we are good. Okay, so with that, I shall bid you adieu until 7 p.m. on Surviving the Survivor. Hope to see you there. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.